They feel it before they admit it. Not in their logic, inside the part of them that still knows when it's being hunted. The atmosphere around you has shifted into something clean and cold. You're not shouting, not begging, not performing. You're simply moving with a calm that refuses to be negotiated. And that calm is making their demons sweat. Because nothing terrifies a manipulator like a target who stopped reacting on schedule. Their whole game was built on one sacred assumption. You would keep playing defense. They could jab, gossip, provoke, disrespect you, then watch you scramble to explain yourself like you were the one on trial. They loved the old you, who tried to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding. They loved the old you, who brought receipts to a rigged court, who wasted energy trying to make unfair people feel fair. But something in you got quiet in a different way. Not shut down, calibrated. You stopped chasing closure. You stopped arguing with the story they rehearsed about you. You stopped giving them your nervous system like a controller. And the moment you did, their strategies started collapsing. Now they don't know which version of you is walking into the room, because the version that used to explain itself is gone. Watch how they behave when they lose the ability to manage you. They escalate. They send the random message. They like the old post. They ask mutuals questions that sound casual, but smell like surveillance. They stage coincidences. They float bait. Then pretend it wasn't bait, hoping you'll bite so they can say, "See? You're the problem." When control is their oxygen, your independence feels like suffocation. And here's the cruel joke. You're not attacking them. You're just not available for their tactics anymore. Demons don't fear aggression. Demons fear clarity. Demons fear discipline. Demons fear someone who recognizes the pattern and refuses the dance. You're not trying to win arguments. You're trying to end the cycle. That's why their internal chaos leaks through their smiles. They used to read you like a manual. They knew what tone would make you doubt yourself, what rumor would make you defend your name, what compliment would soften you into giving access, what insult would make you chase validation. They studied you the way desperate people study a lock they plan to pick. And for a while, it worked, because you were human. You wanted peace. You wanted fairness. You wanted the benefit of the doubt to be real. Then you learned the difference between confusion and strategy. Some people don't misunderstand. They engineer. They don't want clarity. They want leverage. They don't want resolution. They want reactions. They don't want you healed. They want you manageable. So you stopped donating explanations to people who treat your words like weapons. You stopped negotiating with disrespect. You stopped translating your boundaries into language that feels comfortable to the person violating them. Now their masks slip in tiny ways. They talk too fast, like speed can replace substance. They smile too hard, like teeth can hide panic. They act unbothered while keeping receipts like a detective who suspects they're about to be exposed. They paint you as the villain because villains are useful. If they can make your confidence look dangerous, they can avoid looking at their own emptiness. If they can call you cold, they don't have to admit they depended on your warmth. And that's when the showdown starts approaching. Not the dramatic movie kind, but the real one, the quiet one, the kind that happens inside them when they realize you're not coming back to who you used to be. First they do denial. They call your evolution a phase. They tell themselves you'll soften, you'll miss them, you'll need their approval again. They wait. And while they wait, you keep building. You keep choosing yourself. You keep stacking small, boring wins that turn into permanent upgrades. The longer you keep moving, the more their denial erots into panic. Then comes projection. They accuse you of everything they're doing. They call you manipulative while trying to manipulate your reputation. They call you toxic while dripping poison into conversations. They call you obsessed while monitoring your progress like it's a job. They call you changed like it's a crime. Of course you changed. Change is what happens when you stop accepting crumbs from people who eat off your plate. When the old buttons don't work, they go for the last desperate move. They try to rewrite your identity. They bring up your past, your old reactions, your worst moments, the version of you that existed before you learned restraint. They freeze you in an old snapshot and point at it like evidence. Because if they can keep you stuck in that picture, they can pretend they're still ahead of you. But you're not arguing with their story. You're outgrowing it. You're becoming too consistent to smear, too disciplined to bait, too focused to chase approval. Your silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Your distance isn't pettiness, it's self-respect. And your calm is the most brutal thing you can do to a person who survives on your chaos. Calm is evidence. Calm is a verdict. Calm says, without words, you do not matter enough to disturb my peace. That sentence lands inside them like a brick, so their demons start sweating psychologically. Insecurity starts pacing. Envy starts rehearsing speeches. The need to be the main character starts throwing tantrums in private. The demon of control starts calling emergency meetings at 2:47 a.m., drafting messages, deleting messages, refreshing pages, trying to find a lever that still moves you. Because if they can't move you, they have to face the truth. Their power was your permission. And that's where the checkmate begins. Not with a loud attack. With boring discipline. Checkmate is you not picking up. Checkmate is you not explaining. Checkmate is you not defending your name to people who are never committed to your truth. Checkmate is you not stepping into rooms where your spirit has to shrink. Checkmate is you choosing your future so consistently that their narrative can't keep up with your reality. Watch how they react to boring checkmate. They act like you switched up. They act like you're punishing them. No, you're just no longer donating your life to their entertainment. You're no longer volunteering as the emotional punching bag in their little circus. They feel the unavoidable showdown approaching because the only thing left for them is truth. They can't distract you. They can't confuse you. They can't guilt you back into your old role. They can't charm you into shrinking. So what's left? Accountability. And accountability is the opponent their demons never trained for. That's why the energy around you gets strange. You see micro-reactions, the way they scan your face to check if they still have access, the way compliments start sounding like negotiation, the way "I'm proud of you" starts sounding like "please don't leave me behind," the way their jokes get sharper when you're winning, because sarcasm is the only blade weak hands can hold. And you don't have to do anything. You keep being consistent. That's your new threat. Not rage, not revenge, consistency. Because consistency exposes people who rely on your inconsistency to survive. They try sympathy as a last angle. Suddenly they're tired. Suddenly they're going through so much. Suddenly they didn't mean it. Suddenly they need grace. Not because they're changing, but because you're leaving. They don't want forgiveness, they want access. And when you don't give it, they call you heartless. Let them. Heartless is what controlling people call you when they can't reach your heart anymore. Now the real showdown isn't even with them. It's with the part of you that used to crave closure. The part of you that wanted the perfect conversation where they finally understand. That part will try to drag you back into the ring, because closure feels like justice. But justice isn't always a conversation. Sometimes justice is distance. Sometimes justice is never giving them a final scene. So you learn to live without their confession. You let them keep their story while you keep your life. You stop trying to win their understanding and start winning your days. And the darker irony is this: the more stable you become, the more unstable they get. Your peace triggers their chaos. Your boundaries trigger their desperation, because their game was timing and pressure, making you react first so they could blame you for reacting, provoking you into being messy so they could call you unstable, moving the goalposts and watching you chase them like a dog chasing a laser pointer. But you stopped chasing. You started watching. You started seeing who benefits when you shrink, who panics when you grow. You started protecting your energy like it's currency. You stopped giving them front row seats to your process. You moved quieter and cleaner, and you let outcomes speak in a language they can't interrupt. That's how you corner them in their own game. You remove yourself from every trap. You refuse to stand in the spot where they keep placing the knife. You recognize that some battles are won by not entering the arena at all. Without your participation, their power is imaginary. So they gather people like shields. They build little courtrooms where you're guilty by default. They try to make you defend yourself against a story that keeps changing. And you know what? Let them build it. Because you're not showing up. You're not showing up to defend yourself against people who already chose not to see you. You're not showing up to explain boundaries to people who hear no as an insult. You're not showing up to debate your worth with people whose identity depends on you doubting it. And the moment you stop showing up, their narrative collapses under the weight of your results. They can't control you with stories when your life keeps contradicting them. Now the showdown feels unavoidable because for them, it is. They're not chasing you. They're chasing the version of you they could manage. They're chasing the reaction they used to get. And the more they chase, the more they reveal how small the whole thing always was. This is where you become dangerous in the cleanest way. You stop treating their behavior as personal and start treating it as predictable. You stop being offended and start being strategic. You stop hoping and start choosing. And your choices tighten the checkmate. You choose who gets access. You choose where your attention goes. You choose your peace over their approval. You choose to build a life that doesn't require their permission. You choose to become the kind of person their demons can't manipulate, because your identity isn't for sale. So let them feel the heat. Let their demons sweat. Let them sense the board closing in, move by move, day by day, boundary by boundary. The real win isn't watching them panic. The real win is watching you become someone who doesn't need their panic to prove anything. And if you're wondering what happens next, here's what they don't anticipate. When desperate players see the end coming, they don't bow out gracefully. They make one reckless move, one loud move, one last-ditch move that exposes everything they've been hiding. And that's exactly where this is headed. Because right before checkmate, the losing side always tries to flip the table and call it strategy. They don't accept endings. They don't respect boundaries. They don't exit with dignity. They don't say, okay, I lost. They say, let me do something so chaotic you'll forget I'm losing. And the best part? They do it on instinct. They don't even realize they're confessing. So the reckless move shows up wearing a disguise. It arrives as concern. It arrives as nostalgia. It arrives as a joke. It arrives as a "hey, stranger." It arrives as a sudden compliment from someone who used to starve you of basic respect. It arrives as a mutual friend randomly asking how you've been. It arrives as a coincidence that smells like planning. And you can feel it immediately, can't you? That tiny vibration in the air. That subtle shift where your nervous system goes, this isn't connection, this is reconnaissance. Because when people lose control of you, they don't suddenly develop genuine curiosity. They develop a mission. Here's what they're hoping for. One emotional reaction, one messy paragraph, one defensive tone, one "why would you do that to me?" One moment where you step back onto their stage and give them something they can edit, screenshot, misquote, and perform like evidence. They don't need truth. They need content. They need a clip. They need a moment they can replay to others and say, "See, this is who they really are." But you don't give them a scene, because you finally understand the secret. The trap isn't the message. The trap is the role they're offering you inside the message. The role of the explainer, the role of the fixer, the role of the one who proves their goodness by tolerating disrespect. They want to pull you back into that costume, because in that costume, you're manageable. And that's why their demons sweat when you stay calm. Because calm means you can see the strings. So the first reckless move is usually a test. Something small, something plausibly deniable, something that gives them two exits. If you react, they say you're unstable. If you don't, they say you're cold. They call it checking in, but it's really checking if the old buttons still work. They toss a pebble at your window and listen for movement. And you, this upgraded version of you, doesn't move. You watch them try to manufacture a reaction like a desperate magician, performing the same trick to an audience that already saw The Wire. You watch them repeat the pattern: bait, guilt, charm, insult, confusion, sympathy. It's the same playlist, just remixed for whatever version of you they think you still are. But you're not that version. You're the version that sees through their tactics so clearly, it almost feels unfair. Almost. Except it's not unfair. It's just what happens when you stop being emotionally available to people who treat your emotions like a remote control. And now the energy changes, because when the small test fails, they escalate. They send the accidental message meant for someone else. The one that just happens to mention your name. The one that just happens to hint at drama. The one that just happens to look like a mistake but reads like a stage direction. Oops, wrong person, LOL. Yeah, totally. And I'm the CEO of Innocence. They do it because they want you to respond. They want you to ask questions. They want you to lean in. Curiosity is how they reopen the door. Confusion is how they enter. They don't need you to trust them. They just need you to engage. But you don't, because you've learned something brutal. The people who play mind games don't fear confrontation. They fear indifference. They can spin anger into a narrative. They can twist sadness into a weakness. They can weaponize your explanations. But indifference? Indifference gives them nothing to hold. So they start doing the one thing that always happens when control breaks. They recruit an audience. You'll notice it. Suddenly other people are involved. People who weren't there. People who don't have context. People who just want peace. People who don't want to pick sides, while somehow always repeating their side. They send flying monkeys with smiles and soft voices, like, "Hey, I don't know what happened, but..." but they do know what happened. They know exactly what happened. They're just being paid in attention to pretend they don't. And your old self would have explained. Your old self would have tried to clarify. Your old self would have written a dissertation titled, "Why I'm Not the Villain in Your Group Chat." Your old self would have fought for fairness in a room that profits off distortion. But your new self doesn't debate in bad faith courtrooms. You don't argue with people who get their information from someone committed to misunderstanding you. You don't perform innocence for a jury that was bribed with gossip. You don't chase approval from people who need you to be wrong so they can feel right. So you do something that feels almost illegal in today's world. You let them think what they want. You let them build theories. You let them tell stories. You let them pace. You let them spiral. And that's when the panic becomes visible. Because if you're not defending yourself, they can't read your position. If you're not responding, they can't measure your weakness. If you're not reacting, they can't time their next move. Your silence becomes a fog they can't map. That fog is terrifying to demons. Demons don't fear your anger. Demons fear your self-control. They fear the fact you're not emotionally available for extraction. They fear the fact you're not easy anymore. So the next reckless move is the apology. Not a real apology, a performance apology. An apology with loopholes, an apology with conditions, an apology that starts with if or ends with but. An apology that somehow contains more blame than accountability. They'll say, "I'm sorry you feel that way." Translation, "I'm sorry you're inconvenient." They'll say, "I didn't know it hurt you." Translation, "I didn't care enough to check." They'll say, "I was going through a lot." Translation, "My pain gives me permission." They'll say, "Can we just move on?" Translation, "Can you stop remembering because I hate consequences?" And they're hoping your heart will do what it used to do. Rush in, accept crumbs, call it progress, reopen the door, restart the cycle. They're hoping your empathy will betray you. But it doesn't, because you finally learned the difference between compassion and access. You can forgive someone internally and still refuse to let them back into your life. You can understand their wounds without volunteering as their punching bag. You can wish them healing while still locking your door. And the moment you refuse the bait apology, their demons sweat harder, because now they realize you're not returning to the version of you that was easy to reset. So they try the opposite approach. They go cold. They go mean. They go dismissive. They go for the ego shot. They throw a subtle insult meant to sting. They bring up your past. They do that thing where they pretend they're the mature one while doing the most immature behavior in the building. They act like you're too much, because calling you too much is easier than admitting they were too little. And you watch it like you're watching a predictable movie. You recognize the strategy. If love doesn't pull you back, shame will. If apology doesn't reopen the door, provocation will. If softness doesn't work, cruelty will. Because their demons only know two tools: seduce or attack. But you're not seduced, and you're not attacked. You're calibrated. Here's the part nobody tells you. Once you stop reacting, the manipulator begins reacting to you. They become the emotional one. They become the frantic one. They become the inconsistent one. They start telling on themselves. They'll post indirectly. They'll talk louder around mutual spaces. They'll perform happiness like it's a threat. They'll say your name in rooms you're not in. Like chanting, it will summon your attention. They'll obsess over your energy, your attitude, your change. Because they need a reason for your boundaries that doesn't involve their behavior. and you'll notice something darkly funny. They'll act like you're doing this to them, like your healing is an attack, like your standards are violence, like your peace is disrespect, because in their world your role was to be available, to be easy, to be forgiving on command, to be warm even when they were cold, to be patient even when they were reckless. Your boundaries are a betrayal of the contract they wrote in their head. So they start feeling cornered, not because you're threatening them, but because their usual exits are closing. Their lies don't land the same. Their smear campaign can't keep up with your consistency. Their "I'm the victim" storyline gets weak when you're not chasing them. And here comes the part that makes the showdown unavoidable. They can't control you privately anymore, so they try to control you publicly. This is when they start planting narratives, small ones at first. They've been acting weird. They're different now. They think they're better than everyone. They're cold. They're arrogant. They're fake. Classic vocabulary. It's always the same language used to punish someone who refuses access. They do it to protect their ego. Yes, but also to test the environment. They want to see who will echo it, who will support them, who will join the crowd. They're building a social cage around you, hoping you'll panic and shrink yourself back down just to escape the pressure. But you don't shrink, and that's when your checkmate starts tightening in ways they can't even understand. Because you're not trying to win popularity contests. You're trying to win your life back. You stop feeding the rumor mill by starving it. You stop rewarding disrespect by removing your presence. You stop explaining yourself to people who only listen so they can reply. And now, the board is closing. Because the more they escalate, the more they expose themselves. Their concern becomes obsession. Their curiosity becomes surveillance. Their boundaries become control attempts. Their peacekeeping becomes manipulation. And the most humiliating part for them? You're not even fighting. You're just not available. That's why they feel the showdown approaching. Because at some point, when someone keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, the only thing left is a consequence. Not a conversation, not a warning. A consequence. And you, this version of you, does consequences differently. You don't threaten. You don't announce. You don't scream about what you're going to do. You don't give them a preview. You just change the rules of access, quietly, cleanly, permanently. Now let's talk about the psychological chokehold you've accidentally created. When a manipulator loses you, they don't just lose a person. They lose a mirror. They lose a stage. They lose a role that made them feel powerful. They lose the ability to regulate their emotions by disrupting yours. They lose their favorite drug, your attention, so they start twitching. They'll check your socials more often than they check their own goals. They'll ask about you like it's just curiosity, but it's interrogation with a smile. They'll pretend they're over it while keeping files in their mind like a detective who refuses to close the case. They'll compare themselves to you in private, then hate you for the math. And here's where the chaotic humor creeps in. They'll start trying to compete with you in categories you didn't even sign up for. Suddenly they're leveling up, too. Suddenly they're posting motivational quotes. Suddenly they're in their healing era. Suddenly they're unbothered. It's adorable in the same way a toddler wearing a suit is adorable. Respectfully, the suit is still full of tantrums. They'll mimic your posture, copy your language, steal your vibe, then accuse you of changing when you don't respond to the imitation. Because your aura is the only thing in their life that felt like power. and now they're trying to counterfeit it. But here's what they can't counterfeit: discipline, consistency, integrity. The quiet self-respect that doesn't need applause. So the imitation fails, and the demons sweat harder. Now their final move gets closer, the real reckless move, the one that exposes everything. It's usually one of these. They try to bait you into a public confrontation so they can look like the victim. They send someone close to you to extract information. They manufacture a crisis to pull your empathy back into service. They drop a rumor so outrageous you feel forced to defend yourself. They accidentally leak a private thing so you'll panic. They attempt a power play, an ultimatum, a threat. A statement meant to corner you into choosing between your peace and your reputation. Because when the board is closing, they don't try to win gracefully. They try to cause damage. But you've been studying. You've been watching patterns, not personalities. You've been tracking behavior, not promises. You've been noticing what triggers them, what calms them, what makes them reveal themselves. And now you're positioned to do something they don't expect. You don't fight their move directly. You redirect it into a trap of their own making. This is the part where your calm becomes surgical. You realize the highest level of power isn't yelling louder. It's making their next step cost them something. It's letting them walk into their own contradiction. It's watching them overplay their hand while you do nothing but hold your boundary. Because boundaries do something beautiful. They force the other person to show their character. If you say no and they respect it, they're safe. If you say no and they punish you, they were never safe. So you say no, no to the bait. No to the apology with conditions. No to the just talk request that's really let me back in. No to the triangulation. No to the flying monkeys. No to the guilt. No to the rewriting of your story. No to the forced showdown on their terms. And the second you say no, their demons start pleading. Not out loud, not in words, in behavior. They try to punish you into compliance. They try to starve you into returning. They try to shame you into being small again. They try to teach you a lesson for having self-respect. But you don't learn that lesson anymore. You learned a different one. People who love you don't need you to be smaller to feel bigger. People who respect you don't ask for access while disrespecting your boundaries. People who are healthy don't panic when you grow. So what happens as the showdown approaches? You become boringly unstoppable. You stop checking for their reactions. You stop caring about their private opinions. You stop moving based on their mood. You stop letting their projections define your identity. And that's the quiet checkmate. You become unhookable. This is why they feel cornered in their own game. Because their game requires hooks. Their game requires you to care. Their game requires you to chase. Their game requires you to explain. Their game requires you to doubt yourself. But you've removed the hooks. So all they have left is noise, and noise doesn't work on a person who is committed to peace. Now here's where part 2 turns into a blade. You start recognizing that the showdown isn't something you have to fear. It's something you can control. Because the showdown is not a screaming match. It's a moment of truth. A moment where the mask slips so hard it can't be put back on. And you can feel that moment approaching like pressure in the air. They'll do one final probe, one final accidental contact, one final attempt to make you react. And you won't react. You'll respond with structure. You'll respond with a boundary so clear it doesn't invite debate. You'll respond with distance so final it doesn't leave hope. You'll respond with a move that makes their next move impossible without exposing their intentions. That's what checkmate really is. Not beating them harder, removing their options. And the more you remove options, the more frantic they get. You'll watch it. They start contradicting themselves. They start slipping timelines. They start saying things that don't align. They start moving emotionally while pretending they're logical. They start leaking their obsession in casual conversations. They start revealing that they know details they shouldn't know because they've been watching. And you don't even need to accuse them. You just let them talk. You just let them over-explain. Because people who are lying always over-talk when they feel the truth closing in. They pile words on top of words like a blanket, hoping coverage becomes credibility. They act offended at questions you didn't ask. They defend themselves from accusations you didn't make. You don't have to be a genius to see it. You just have to be calm enough to notice. So you stay calm. You keep building your life. You keep moving forward without checking behind you every 2 seconds. And that's when it hits them. You're not watching them anymore. They used to feel like the observer, the judge, the one in control. Now they feel like the one being left behind, like the one being measured and found lacking. And this is where their demons sweat the hardest, right before the final move, because they feel the humiliation of powerlessness. They can't reach you. They can't read you. They can't bait you. They can't guilt you. They can't shame you. They can't charm you. So they do what cornered egos always do. They make one last loud move. The kind of move that's designed to force your hand. A public statement, a sudden confrontation, a threat disguised as truth. A dramatic gesture meant to drag you back into the arena. And for a second, the old instinct tries to rise. Defend yourself. Explain. Correct the record. Prove you're not who they said you are, but you don't. Because you remember the rule. You don't wrestle in mud with people who trained for it. You make one clean move instead. Not emotional, not reactive. A move so precise it feels like you already saw it coming. You shift your position on the board in a way that turns their loud move into a spotlight on their own intentions. You let their aggression become their confession. You let their truth bomb become proof of obsession. You let their attempt to corner you become the moment they corner themselves. And that's where the showdown becomes unavoidable. Not because you're going to fight them, but because they're about to expose themselves, trying to force you to. Because here's what they still don't understand. The board has already changed. The rules aren't the same. You're not playing for validation anymore. You're playing for freedom. And when you play for freedom, you don't need to win debates. You need to remove access. You need to choose yourself. You need to keep moving. So when their final loud move comes, and it will, you'll be ready, not with rage, but with a boundary that locks like steel. You'll watch them step forward with their practiced script, expecting the old you to appear like a puppet on cue. And instead they'll meet the version of you that doesn't argue. The version of you that ends cycles. The version of you that doesn't give them a final scene. And the second they realize that, you'll see it in their eyes. The panic, the heat, the sweating demons, the internal screaming. Because the next move you make won't be a reply. It'll be a consequence, not a speech, not a paragraph, not a let me explain. Just a clean, quiet action that changes the shape of their access forever. One door you stop opening, one number you stop answering, one invitation you stop entertaining. And suddenly, their entire final move lands in an empty room, echoing back at them like a joke told to an audience that already left. That's the moment the board, freezes. In their head, the showdown was supposed to be dramatic. They wanted you to flinch. They wanted the old you to show up so they could twist, edit, weaponize, and walk away smiling like they won. But you don't give them emotion. You give them absence. And absence is the one language their demons can't negotiate with. You can almost hear the gears grind inside them. Their script has no line for a person who won't argue. Their playbook has no chapter for someone who refuses to be baited. They try to escalate, but there's nowhere to climb when you're not standing on their ladder. They try to shame you, but shame can't stick to someone who stopped needing approval. They try to recruit people, but your silence makes their recruiting look like exactly what it is: a desperate search for witnesses. And here's the dark comedy. While they're scrambling to win, you're just living. While they're writing narratives, you're writing outcomes. While they're running PR, you're building peace. They're sweating over optics. You're investing in reality. They wanted a showdown like a movie. You turned it into a policy change. Because consequences aren't emotional, they're structural. You don't scream at a leaking pipe. You shut the valve. You don't debate with a fire. You remove oxygen. You don't negotiate with a pattern. You exit the loop. And once you exit, the loop exposes itself, spinning loudly with nobody inside it. That's when they realize the worst truth for a control-addicted person. They can't punish you into staying. Now watch what happens right after you lock the boundary. They'll try to act like they don't care. Then they'll check if you noticed. They'll try to look unbothered. Then they'll send a message designed to bother you. They'll pretend they're over it. Then they'll bring you up in conversations like a ritual. It's not even anger at this point. It's withdrawal. You were their supply. Your reactions were their proof of power. That's why their demons sweat. Because without you, they have to sit with themselves. No mirror to distort, no target to blame, no drama to outsource their emptiness onto. Just the quiet realization that the chaos they threw at you was never about you. It was about how they managed their insecurity by trying to manage you. And here's where your checkmate becomes undeniable. You don't need to expose them publicly. You don't need to prove anything. Their behavior does it for you. The more they push, the more obvious they become. The more they talk, the more they contradict themselves. The more they chase, the more they reveal the obsession. You don't have to fight their demons. You just stop feeding them. So the showdown happens, but not the way they imagined. It happens in that single moment when you choose your dignity over the dopamine of a reply. When you choose your future over the temporary satisfaction of clapping back. When you choose peace over performance. That choice is the blade. That choice is the lock. That choice is the end of the game, and they will feel it instantly. Not because you announce it, but because their access evaporates, their influence dies, their buttons stop working, their final move hits nothing. They stand there with a handful of tactics and no target, realizing you didn't just dodge their last-ditch play, you removed the entire arena. So let them call it cold, let them call it arrogance. Let them call it changed. Of course you changed. You evolved past being controllable. You became the kind of person their demons can't touch. Because your identity isn't up for negotiation anymore. You're not here to be understood by people who profit off misunderstanding. You're here to be free. And when they finally accept that the board is closed, that the checkmate is real, they'll have one final revelation. The scariest thing about you was never your anger. It was your discipline, the quiet decision to stop participating, the calm refusal to give them a final scene, The consequence that didn't scream just ended everything. And you'll keep walking, not because you won, but because you remember what this was always about. Not defeating them, but escaping them. And that's why their demons sweat. Because you didn't fight to survive. You moved to rule your own mind. That's the checkmate. Quiet, final, permanent, clean.